Welcome back to High Stakes. Elevate your betting game by hitting that subscribe button and ensure you never miss out on our daily content. Want exclusive access to premium betting picks? Join our Patreon. Links are waiting for you in the comment section below. Stay ahead of the game with High Stakes. In today's video, we'll be sharing our expert predictions for some exciting upcoming matchups: Clemson versus Pittsburgh, Tulane versus Navy, Liberty versus Massachusetts, Texas versus Arkansas, Louisiana Tech versus Western Kentucky, Utah versus Colorado, Ohio State versus Northwestern, and UL Monroe versus Auburn. Stay tuned for an in-depth breakdown of each game. Clemson versus Pittsburgh. This ACC showdown on Saturday afternoon promises to be an intriguing matchup with the potential to be closer than the market suggests, regardless of whether Holstein takes the field. I'm backing Pittsburgh to cover at home, taking the points with the Panthers. Despite entering the toughest stretch of their schedule, Pittsburgh has demonstrated resilience, losing by double digits in only one of their 9 games, 48-25 versus SMU. On the other hand, Clemson remains a solid squad, but I'm hesitant to trust them fully, especially with a large spread. Their defense, while competent, ranks 46th nationally, allowing 23.1 points per game. If Pittsburgh can push their score into the 20s, they should be well positioned to cover. Key factor: Panthers' rushing defense. A significant reason for favoring Pittsburgh lies in their ability to stop the run. The Panthers have the 10th best rushing defense in the nation, allowing just 3.0 yards per carry. While Clemson doesn't overly depend on the ground game, Phil Maffa, 981 rushing yards, is a key component of their offense. If Pittsburgh can control the trenches, they could force Clemson into difficult third and long situations. Scoring outlook and total. Clemson's defense has shown improvement over their last 6 games, allowing an average of just 17.5 points per game. That trend, combined with Pittsburgh's stout run defense, points to a lower scoring contest. I'm projecting a final score around 28-20 in Clemson's favor, which would fall comfortably under the total of 54.5 points. Predictions: spread, Pittsburgh Panthers plus 10 points. Total, under 54.5 points. Tulane versus Navy. This matchup between Tulane and Navy has all the ingredients for a gritty, hard-fought battle, with historical trends and current circumstances adding intrigue. Navy has never lost to Tulane at home, boasting a 5-1 record in their last 6 meetings. The underdog has consistently performed well in this rivalry, often covering or outright winning. Navy, undefeated at home this season, 4-0, faces a Tulane squad that hasn't been tested by a team of Navy's caliber since September. With their postseason hopes on the line, the midshipmen's desperation may provide an edge in this contest. Key matchup: ground game and defensive prowess. Both teams rely heavily on their rushing attacks and are anchored by strong defensive performances. Tulane has allowed 10 points or fewer in 3 of their last 4 games, while Navy has held opponents to 17 points or fewer in 3 of their last 5. Expect lengthy, methodical drives from both sides, which will keep the clock running and limit scoring opportunities. Betting outlook. While Navy's money line is an intriguing option given their historical dominance and strong home performance, the safer play is to take the points with the midshipmen. The combination of Navy's urgency and defensive toughness should keep this game competitive. Additionally, the pace of play and defensive emphasis point toward a lower scoring affair. With both teams looking to minimize mistakes, especially in a high-stakes environment, the under on the total seems like a strong play. Predictions: spread, Navy midshipmen plus 7 points. Total, under 52.5 points. Liberty versus Massachusetts. This late-season matchup between Liberty and UMass presents a stark contrast in performance and consistency, making it a challenging spot for the Minutemen. UMass continues to struggle offensively, ranking near the bottom in key statistical categories. Averaging just 19.2 points per game, 121st nationally, and committing frequent penalties, turnovers, and other miscues, the Minutemen have been unable to maintain competitiveness against stronger opponents. UMass, a season of struggles. Defensively, UMass has been equally shaky, giving up 31.7 points per game and struggling to stop the run. Their inability to slow down rushing attacks, allowing 1,605 yards and 22 touchdowns on the ground this season, presents a significant issue against Liberty's potent ground game. Additionally, UMass has been unreliable against the spread, 3-5-1 this season, 1-3 at home, further diminishing confidence in their ability to keep this game close. Liberty, a dominant rushing attack. Liberty enters this matchup with a balanced and disciplined approach, averaging 30.9 points per game and ranking 7th nationally in rushing yards per game, 242.4. Their defense complements the offense, holding opponents to 22.6 points per game while excelling against the run, conceding just 3.9 yards per carry. Liberty has also demonstrated strength on the road, covering the spread in key games, including last week's matchup against Middle Tennessee. Betting outlook. With UMass struggling to find consistency and facing injury concerns at key positions, Liberty has a clear edge in this contest. The Flames' strong rushing attack and disciplined play should allow them to control the game, while UMass's leaky defense and inefficient offense make it unlikely they'll mount a significant challenge. Given UMass's inability to produce offensively, particularly against non-FCS opponents, the total points for this game are also worth consideration. Liberty's defense is more than capable of limiting UMass to a low score, while the Flames may not need to push the tempo once they establish control. Predictions. Spread, Liberty minus 14 points. Total, under 52.5 points. Texas versus Arkansas. The storied rivalry between Texas and Arkansas returns for its 80th iteration, with Texas holding a commanding 56-23 lead in the series. However, Arkansas took the most recent meeting in 2021 with a decisive 40-21 home victory. This time around, the Longhorns look poised to reassert dominance behind a rejuvenated offense and a top-tier defense. Texas, balanced and dominant. Texas is coming off a commanding win and enters this game with momentum, especially with QB Quinn Ewers back in top form. The Longhorns boast the SEC's fourth-best offense, complemented by a defense ranked 4th nationally in scoring. Their passing attack is set to exploit Arkansas's struggling secondary, the weakest in the conference. On the defensive side, Texas's stout unit will make it difficult for Arkansas to find a rhythm, particularly with QB KJ Jefferson potentially limited by a knee issue. Arkansas. Challenges on both sides. Arkansas faces an uphill battle. Their defense, which allowed 63 points to the SEC's top offense last week, now faces another juggernaut in Texas. Offensively, while the Razorbacks have shown they can score, posting 31 points 2 weeks ago, their inconsistency and Jefferson's potential limitations may hinder their ability to sustain drives. Betting outlook. Texas is 6-3 against the spread, ATS, this season, and has the tools to cover as 13.5-point favorites. Their combination of a high-powered offense and elite defense gives them a significant edge over Arkansas, who's just 2-3 ATS at home. In terms of the total, both teams have consistently found the scoreboard this season. Texas's offense has reignited after a slight dip in conference play, while Arkansas has scored at least 24 points in 6 games. Although Texas's defense is formidable, their recent trend of allowing 23.7 points per game over the last 3 contests provides Arkansas with a small window to contribute to a high-scoring affair. Predictions. Spread. Texas minus 13.5 points. Total over 57.5 points. Louisiana Tech versus Western Kentucky. This Conference USA matchup heavily favors Western Kentucky, as the Hilltoppers aim to maintain their perfect home record, 4-0, and stay atop the conference standings. Western Kentucky has dominated Louisiana Tech in recent history, winning 3 of their last 4 meetings and covering the spread in each victory. Meanwhile, Louisiana Tech remains winless on the road, 0-4, and comes into this game with no momentum, having dropped their last 2 contests. Western Kentucky, offense leading the charge. The Hilltoppers boast one of the most explosive offenses in the conference, consistently scoring between 30 and 44 points in their last 4 games. With their ability to put up points and a home field advantage, Western Kentucky is well-positioned to extend their winning streak. Defensively, the Hilltoppers have been steady, allowing just over 18 points per game in their last 4 outings, which should be enough to contain Louisiana Tech's inconsistent offense. Louisiana Tech, road struggles and inconsistency. The Bulldogs have been a mixed bag offensively, scoring 37 points in a recent game, but managing just 3 the week prior. Their road woes and lack of consistency make them a challenging team to back, especially against a strong opponent like Western Kentucky. Betting outlook. Spread. Western Kentucky minus 13.5 points. The Hilltoppers' combination of offensive firepower and recent dominance over Louisiana Tech makes them a strong play to cover the spread. Louisiana Tech struggles on the road only strengthen this outlook. Total, over 52.5 points. Western Kentucky's consistent offensive production suggests they'll score in the 30 to 40 point range, while Louisiana Tech should be able to contribute at least 14 points, enough to push the total over. Both defenses are unlikely to completely shut down the opposing offense, making this game a strong candidate for a high-scoring affair. Predictions. Spread. Western Kentucky minus 13.5 points. Total, over 52.5 points. Utah versus Colorado. The rivalry between Utah and Colorado enters its 71st meeting, with Utah holding a dominant recent record, going 9-1 straight up, SU, and 6-4 against the spread, ATS, in their last 10 matchups. Utah edged out a 23-17 win last season, and they come into this game with extra motivation after a potential win slipped away last week. Despite a 5-game losing streak, Utah's defeats have been competitive, with an average margin of just 6.2 points. Utah, resilient despite challenges. The Utes have shown resilience against tough competition this season, including a win over then 14 Oklahoma State. However, their offense remains a concern, especially with their third-string quarterback leading the charge. Turnovers and inefficiencies could become issues, but Utah's defense, the best in the conference, gives them a significant edge. If they can capitalize on Colorado's tendency to start slow, they'll have an opportunity to control the game early. Colorado, offensive firepower meets defensive test. The Buffaloes have been involved in close games all season, including a narrow loss last week. While their offense, led by Travis Hunter, can put points on the board, they haven't faced a defense as strong as Utah's. Colorado struggles to establish momentum early, and the potential for turnovers against a disciplined Utah defense could limit their scoring opportunities. Betting outlook. Spread. Utah plus 11.5 points. Given Utah's competitiveness in recent losses and their defensive prowess, taking the points seems like a solid play. Their track record against Colorado further supports this pick. Total, under 46.5 points. Both teams have shown trends toward the under, with a combined 9-7-2 record this season. Utah's offensive struggles, paired with Colorado's difficulty against top defenses, suggest a lower scoring game. The under has also hit in 6 of the last 10 meetings between these two teams. Predictions. Spread. Utah plus 11.5 points. Total, under 46.5 points. Ohio State versus Northwestern. Ohio State enters this matchup as one of the most complete teams in the nation, boasting a dynamic offense and the #1 defense in college football. The Buckeyes have been dominant this season, capable of shutting down even the strongest offenses, and Northwestern's struggling unit is unlikely to pose a significant threat. Ohio State, a defensive juggernaut. Ohio State's defense has been the cornerstone of their success, consistently stifling opponents. They've thrived against both the run and the pass, creating a near-impenetrable wall for opposing offenses. Their offense, led by explosive playmakers, can pile on points quickly, often putting games out of reach before halftime. With a 28.5-point spread, Ohio State has the tools to cover comfortably against a Northwestern team that lacks firepower. Northwestern, a tough task ahead. The Wildcats have a commendable rush defense, but their offensive woes make them ill-equipped to keep pace with Ohio State. Ranking outside the top 100 in both passing and rushing offense, Northwestern will struggle to sustain drives and capitalize on opportunities. Against the nation's top defense, scoring will be a significant challenge, and their inability to generate points could turn this game into a one-sided affair. Betting outlook. Spread. Ohio State minus 28.5 points. Ohio State's ability to dominate on both sides of the ball makes them a strong play to cover the large spread. Northwestern's offense is unlikely to find much success, allowing the Buckeyes to pull away early and maintain a commanding lead. Total, under 43.5 points. The Buckeyes have consistently kept games low-scoring due to their elite defense, with the under hitting in all 4 games where the total was set at 49 points or less. Northwestern's offensive struggles will likely prevent them from contributing much to the total, and Ohio State's ability to control the game suggests a low-scoring outcome. Predictions. Spread. Ohio State minus 28.5 points. Total, under 43.5 points. UL Monroe versus Auburn. The Auburn Tigers have had a mixed season, with an offense that has struggled to live up to expectations. Averaging 419.8 yards per game, their offense ranks 43rd nationally, but discipline has been an issue, as they've accumulated 484 penalty yards this season. They also face turnover concerns, having thrown 10 interceptions and lost 8 fumbles. Despite these struggles, Auburn's defense has been solid, allowing just 19.2 points per game, ranking 22nd in the nation. However, they have shown some vulnerability against the run, giving up 981 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns. Auburn, a team struggling to meet expectations. While Auburn has been favored in most of their matchups, they've struggled to cover the spread consistently, failing to do so in 4 of their last 6 games. They've been inconsistent offensively, and their inability to consistently put up points has created concerns about covering large spreads, especially against teams like UL Monroe that can surprise. UL Monroe, a solid betting option. The ULM Warhawks have quietly been a solid betting option this season, with a 6-3 record against the spread. Despite averaging just 21.6 points per game, ULM's offense has been effective, particularly in the running game, where they average 172.1 yards per game. Their defense has been respectable, ranking 15th nationally in passing yards allowed. With Auburn's offense inconsistent and prone to mistakes, ULM has the potential to keep this game within the 24.5-point spread. Betting outlook. Spread. UL Monroe plus 24.5 points. ULM has shown resilience throughout the season, and while Auburn remains the stronger team on paper, their struggles to cover big spreads make betting on them a risky proposition. ULM, with their ability to manage the clock and put up consistent points, should be able to cover the generous spread. Total, under 46 points. Both teams have struggled defensively at times, and with Auburn's defense being solid, it's unlikely we'll see a high-scoring game. Auburn has had a tendency to play in low-scoring affairs, with 4 of their 6 home games ending under the posted total this season. ULM's offense is also capable of limiting mistakes and playing conservatively, making the under a solid bet for this late-season matchup. Predictions. Spread. UL Monroe plus 24.5 points. Total, under 46 points.